What is up, Mission Pro Wrestling family? Welcome to another edition of Mission Pro Wrestling's Unmatched, where we're covering all the past pay-per-views and exciting matches, going all the way back into the archives, starting with our very first show. And this week we're bringing you some exciting um, matches from Tournament Out of Hell, which was the big tournament back at the beginning to crown the very first Mission Pro Wrestling champion. Trenda, how are you tonight?
Man, I'm great. It's been a great week. Great, exciting things going on in the world of wrestling, and I'm just ready to talk about it. Let's go.
Okay, so let's talk about the start of this show. The start of the pay-per-view is interesting because it kicked off with the roster in the ring.
Hmm.
All the women were in the ring. I'm assuming I wasn't there live for this show, but I'm assuming there was some stuff with the audience, probably hyping everybody up, and then Maddie's iconic music at the time, Spice Girls "Wannabe" kicks off, and she enters the fray. She, even early on in Mission Pro, she brings such an attitude and such a presence, and um, she really hadn't evolved into the character that she is now, but you could see it even from these early days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when she walked out, she had that "I'm here" and recognize me attitude all on her face, and you can tell that she meant business, and she was ready to wrestle. Yeah.
Yep. And so before we jump into the match, I just wanted to mention something from Kickstart My Heart that really stuck with me, and that's, Maddie and Rashay were teaming with Jasmine against the Men's Revolution, and
Mm.
Jasmine abandoned them in their time of need. And we still haven't really found out why, but I feel like we need to hear at some point from Maddie Rankowski about what her feelings were, her and Rashay feeling after that match. So I'm hoping in the coming weeks we'll hear some more from Maddie about that. But let's talk a little bit about the match. So Jenna Lynn comes out to Kung Fu Fighting, which I'm a huge fan of the song. Like, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, so like I, I get all excited. Um, but I think it's funny that she comes out to Kung Fu Fighting, but she's wearing a karate gi. So it is what it is.
Okay. So we're just gonna chalk that up to those who actually know the difference. Because for me, it was just fine. I had no idea.
Well, and I think Holodet even mentions on commentary that she studies Taekwondo. So I don't know,
Exactly. Yeah, she
whatever.
did. And she does come out with a massive kick, though. She does come out.
And it was a funny moment to start the match because Jenna bowed respectfully, oos the whole deal, and Maddie did her best bow, which was, I don't know if it was a squat or a bow, or I'm not really sure where she was
She
headed with it.
tried. She tried to reciprocate the
She
gesture.
did.
She tried.
Bless her heart, as they say here in the South.
That was funny.
um, but what I thought was interesting about this match is, Maddie's obviously a taller girl, and Jenna we've seen on previous pay-per-views, and obviously both of them, but Jenna is very skilled and fast. So
Mhm.
it wasn't necessarily size, because Maddie isn't a very muscular. She's an athlete, but not like a genocide. But we saw Maddie utilize her height and length of her arms and legs throughout this match to overpower Jenna. And even early on, we saw the kicks and the arm drags from Jenna, and I was like, okay, here we go. There's a this isn't a mismatch. This is an equal pairing, and we're gonna see something exciting. But as the match went on, Jenna did get a lot of offense during this match. Um, we saw Maddie's size and power sort of take over.
Yeah, Jenna's super athletic. You can tell from just watching it that she's very strong. She's agile around that ring. And like you said, she's just super, super athletic. I kind of was concerned too, because it seems like Maddie towers over her.
Hmm.
And in the same sense, though, um, Maddie in this match, it seems like she was just really kind of taking her time, kind of making Jenna, fight her match. She was very for quite a long time in the beginning. It was like very slow and calculated, a chop here, a couple of nice moves, pairs of moves where she was just spinning Jenna around. And she in the beginning, I think Maddie just really made Jenna fight her fight and was really kind of teaching her a lesson.
Yeah, and so to that point, there was a moment where Jenna was she had executed a couple of forearms
Mm.
and some kicks, some really, really strong, martial arts style kicks. But instead of capitalizing on it, she hesitated and sort of went to the other side of the ring. And I don't think at that point either she didn't take Maddie as seriously as she should have, or
Mm.
just didn't have the ring awareness to go right to the next thing and continue that offense. And I think that's one of the things that that worked against her here.
Yeah, I know it was that part almost towards the end where Jenna was getting in a little bit of offense, and she gave a couple of chops, and then I think she did um, a running bulldog,
Mhm.
and got Maddie down on the ground, but she did a few shoulder tried to do a few shoulder tackles, but she missed the second one, and I think that's where she, like you said, she kind of got all upset about not being able to basically execute what she wanted to execute in the ring. And once she missed that other shoulder, the other hit to the shoulder, it was over. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. There was a couple moments where the hesitation caught up with her. There was Jenna was reeling from a strike from Maddie, and Maddie came from the other side and used her the length of her body to execute that. Was basically a face buster, and
Yeah.
she went to the other side, and you realize how much of a wingspan Maddie has, because she just used all of that length and all that size to drive her into the ground, which really that turned the tide. It minimized any ability of Jenna to continue
Even
any
come back.
offense.
Yeah. At that
Yeah,
point.
and but then this is where Maddie's skill comes in, because Jenna was reeling from being kicked by Maddie, and she was sort of on all fours trying to get back to her feet. Maddie came right in with those double knees to the back and just flattened her. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah. Yeah. She actually did that a couple of times in the match, and definitely towards the end, that what was it, the actually same type of position, but scissors to the back,
Hmm.
and just at that point it was over. It was over. So,
Yeah, so I want to get to that in just a second, but I also want to give Jenna a lot of credit for her striking, because not only were the chops there, but she had the spinning back fist that we saw throughout the match, and even at one point there was a sequence of them. She was
oh yeah.
working she was working to try to chop down Maddie, and wasn't as effective as I think she was hoping, but definitely very strong. And you referenced Maddie's reality check scissor kick. We've seen her execute this with precision and great success over the last few years, and it's a devastating move. It's a move that can be used on anyone from anywhere, and
Mhm.
with her long legs, it's just added power.
Yeah, but back to it. You said though, even with Jenna, when she had that little flurry of chops and hits, you can see like she was very precise with the karate chops on the side of the neck, on the side of the throat, and even the back the what she did, a spinning backhand that really landed hard. And so she had a couple of great flurries in there. I think that she just got frustrated at times and wasn't able to just continue with the execution of what she was doing. And of course, you got to give Maddie credit for being Maddie. So yeah, the
Yeah,
fourth
and
fourth Kardashian. So she
it's
always.
true. It's true.
So
But I also, man, I have to give credit to where it's due, because pay-per-view after pay-per-view, the commentary team, just whoever it is, and this match, this pairing of Holiday and Brittany, Holiday's hilarious, and
yes, he
she
is.
made some comments, and I'll probably reference them in the next match. But early on, she had tagged this as hashtag Chop Night, and I just loved it because I remember watching from home, and on social media we were hashtagging it, and we had a live count going for all the chops in each match.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a thing.
Yeah, it seems like it might be a thing again. We're heading into a night two of hashtag Chop Night. So let's
Oh,
see.
very true. Um, yeah. So as we mentioned, Maddie emerges victorious with the reality check and the pin, going into the next round of the tournament to determine the first Mission Pro champion. The next match we're going to talk about is Rachel Rose and Vanity versus Vanity. Um, Mrs. Front Row and I saw Vanity, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I guess it was a while ago at Queens of Combat here in Charlotte. They're not their promotion is no more, but they did have a lot of the bigger stars, a lot of up and coming stars come through there. And she had a knockdown drag out match with Savannah Evans.
Oh
So
wow!
that was
I
the first time I
imagine.
had seen her. Yeah, it was they're two powerhouses. But for this match, Rachel Rose
Yeah.
comes out, and Rachel Rose, Queen of House Rose, she does the bend the knee, right?
Yeah.
Rachel is walking around the ring, about to get in, about to enter the ring, and she stops in front of our good friend Dr. Rob Stinson and his wife Tanya, and she says something to Tanya, and Tanya's like, "I'm not having any of this," and she turns to Rob, and she turns to Doc Stinson and does bend the knee, and he does. He bends the knee. And let me tell you, like, we lit up in the chat, and if you go back and look at the response, the reaction of Doc's wife Tanya, she was not happy.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah, yeah. You can see that, like, what are you doing? Get up.
yeah. Tanya, but it was all in good fun. But oh, I see
Ah,
Davina's in the chat. Hey, Davina, I want to give Davina a huge thank you for spending a lot of time with us at the last pay-per-view. She was awesome. Look forward to seeing her again. Um, so yeah, Rachel comes out to "You Should See Me in a Crown" from Billie Eilish, and I love this song. I've seen this song used for a number of different wrestling, talents and promotions and things like that. But it's so perfect for
for
Rachel.
her, yeah.
And I love this. This match started out with Vanity taking down Rachel very quickly, and Rachel quickly transitions into a hold, and then transitions into a stretch. Like the whole sequence of how this all happened and the tide turning very very quickly. It was impressive.
Yeah, the way Vanity came in and like you said, with those takedowns, actually, I think she hit 2 of them real
Hmm.
quick, and she had Rachel on the mat, and then, like, if you blinked, all of a sudden it was like a twisty turning maneuver where where Rachel just had her on the mat now, and now she has her in a head scissor, and it became something totally different. But the process in which it happened, and how they worked together to make that whole sequence, as you said, one whole move, was excellent. It was a beautiful start.
And we saw the attitude from Rachel Rose doing the push-ups and the head scissors. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say that too. She puts her in the head scissors and begins to do push-ups in
yeah,
the
like
middle of the ring while this woman is laying there with her neck clogged up like this. So I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe don't celebrate in the first minute of the match, like.
Hey, unless
But
you
you
just
know,
know.
yeah. So and Rachel, she did a number of things in this match which were sort of very classic pro wrestling. She worked on Vanity's arm through locks and through. I think there was one time or one moment where she had Vanity on her stomach and was locking her in, but had the she had her foot on Vanity's shoulder to hold her in place,
Yeah.
and the leverage in the way that she was wrenching the arm and then attacking it over and over again. It made a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah, she definitely picked that body part and started breaking her down very early on, and it it uh it seemed to be after that first few minutes, it just seemed to be the Rachel Rose show. I mean, Vanity, she tried to come back, but she could never really catch up and get back on her feet. Rachel completely dominated this match.
Yeah, it was mostly like you say the Rachel show, and everything from that basement drop kick in the corner, which we've seen a bunch from our very own Thunder Rosa is very fond of doing that basement drop kick,
Mhm.
to great effect. But
Man,
she
it was,
did her. Rachel got Vanity into a reverse figure four that looked excruciating. I was like, where is she going with this? Because she wasn't lined up the right
yeah,
way for a traditional figure four. And then she rotated. I was like, oh, okay, I see what she's doing.
yeah. Those kicks. I mean, they are so precise. She did a couple of moves where she did a couple of running drop kicks in the corner, hot couple of high knees, but those kicks, boy, when she hit, they look stiff. I mean, it was just all in Vanity's chest and just really in her face. Like, yeah, she was rough in there.
Yeah. And and this was a moment in the match about, well, maybe two-thirds of the way through, where Rachel has Vanity in a lock and reaches for the rope to give herself extra
Oh,
leverage.
yeah, when the ref couldn't see. Yeah,
The
'cause,
ref couldn't
yeah,
see it.
he was over there in the front of Vanity. Yeah,
It
definitely.
was terrific, and
Oh,
Holidad's line, Holidad says, "If the ref didn't see it, it didn't happen." She says, "Like, if you take a picture and don't post it." I
yeah, it
popped
doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Yeah,
because
yeah.
we've all been there, right? You take a picture and you're like, "If I don't do something with this picture, who cares?" Right? I need somebody to care.
Oh, yeah, how that is definitely, bringing it on the commentary and some of the comments she makes, you can kinda tell that she's not the most, straightforward person in the ring herself.
Yeah, she's a win at all costs kinda competitor.
Exactly. Whatever it
I'm not
takes.
I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just saying it is what it is.
Whatever it takes, dude.
Whatever it takes. Yeah, and so in that moment, Rachel grabs the title. She's a title holder at this time from another
Mhm.
promotion, and the ref sees it and takes the title away. And as the ref is turned away to dispose of the title or to move the title out of the way, Rachel rakes the eyes of Vanity and covers her for the win, advancing to the next round.
Yeah.
Um, overall, what were your thoughts on the match?
Um, Honestly, it wasn't what I expected from the beginning because you're looking at Vanity, you're looking at Rachel, these 2 women, very, dominant in the ring, but you would have thought that Vanity would have had a lot more offense or at least been able to carry herself a little bit more, especially from, even before the match started, you had Holiday and, they were giving a little bit of background on the wrestlers and people were saying that they've seen Vanity before and I just expected a lot more out of her, but this match was just she was just totally dominated in. I mean, she had maybe one time where she had some type of offense, a very small flurry in the ring and Rachel just won. She
Yeah,
just won.
Well, I think it's also a case of, oftentimes people will look at a size mismatch and just automatically assume the bigger person, the more powerful person is going to win. And in this case, it was another example of skill, technique, speed will beat size. It just, in this case, it did.
And
Rachel
you could
was,
actually see and you could actually see Rachel has power as well, because there was a point in time, when she did a clothesline, and she knocked Vanity straight on her back. Like, I mean,
yeah,
again, that showed me right there that just watching her, I was definitely going to get more than what I thought, because you can see she has power as well.
yeah, I did like, after the match, of course, Rachel has an attitude. She's kind of a bad guy or a bad girl here, but the crowd really liked her, and the
Mhm.
response for her win, I think, was positive. So we'll see where this goes. For those who haven't seen the pay per view, go back and watch it on Title Match Network. I saw it live, but I haven't rewatched it, and so as we're rewatching, to prepare to talk about the matches, I'm sort of reliving the excitement of this tournament because we didn't have a champion yet. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
fun. So next week we'll cover another couple, probably two more matches next week, and as we're working towards our finals. Um, I did want to mention that our next pay per view, Edge of Glory, was coming up on April 22nd. That'll be live on Title Match Network. You can get tickets at missionprowrestling.com. And if you're in the San Antonio area or anywhere in Texas that's drivable, go see the show, because the live experience for Mission Pro shows is a boatload of fun. Um, and it's a great experience.
Yeah, like nothing you've ever had before. It is a fun, intimate, and exciting event. So everybody, go support Mission Pro. Go for it.
It is. I wanted to talk about some news in wrestling, but I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things, a couple of Mission Pro related things,
Mhm.
where I'm very interested in the men's revolution and sort of what's happening there. We've seen some really fun videos, some interesting videos JP and the team have posted. JP and Joey Hyder and Boss Baines are
Mhm.
a trio at this point. Uh, we did see at the end of the last video, they sort of intimated that there was a fourth man.
Fourth
There was an empty
person.
chair there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't even know who that could be at this point. But I'm
Mm.
definitely going to be paying attention.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see who the fourth person is as well. They are definitely causing a lot of havoc around here. They're trying to start their own little uh I don't know what it is, a men's something or another. But they are bothering the women of Mission Pro, and something needs to be done soon to get them up out of here. That's how I feel.
Well, I see Davina's in the chat. She says, "Oh, every show I'll bring the crowbar."
Thank you. Please, please.
And I'll shout out to all the people in the chat. Neil saying lame Baines, boss lanes. So,
Ah,
um, also, if you get a chance, go back Tuesday night. Emily and Beta Scott had Dream Girl Ellie on a mission. I love these interviews. I love getting to know the wrestlers and get their personal stories and their journeys and all that. Dream Girl Ellie was super fun. I'm a massive Disney fan. My family, we've been to Disney a whole bunch of times, so there was a really it was a really interesting conversation about Disney and maybe having some adult beverages in the parks, and just go back and check it out. It's a lot of fun.
great interview.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a bunch of stuff happening in women's wrestling this week, going all the way back to last weekend was the Elimination Chamber, WWE's Elimination Chamber, and I
Yes.
wanted to specifically focus on the women's chamber match because I felt like coming out of that match, social media was saying, "Man, that was an incredible match. They're going to have a hard time topping that." And of course, the Bloodline storyline and all that later on in the show was incredible
Awesome.
storytelling. But
Yeah.
purely within the confines of the match, the women absolutely tore it down. Um, we had Asuka, Carmella, Raquel Rodriguez, Nikki Cross, Natalia, and Liv Morgan. and Asuka emerging victorious. This new version of Asuka, I continue to love.
Yes, yes, yes. So this was a great match. Elimination Chamber was great altogether, but this women's match was really awesome. I loved all the action in between the women. Oscar won as I predicted, which mostly a lot of people predicted, but I did predict it as well. So I'll go ahead and say so. And yeah, again, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with the advancement of her on the road to WrestleMania. This new great Oscar.
Yeah, it's I don't know if I guess they're still just calling her Asuka, but going back to
Yeah,
her time in Japan, it was, Kana, evil clown Kana. And we're seeing the makeup, we're seeing some differences in the way that she wrestles, a more even more physical than what we've seen in WWE or NXT. We're seeing the Japanese strong style version of Asuka of Kana. So she's just kicking the crap out of people, and I'm here for it.
and not even just that. I mean, the dominance and the almost fear of her when she walks in, like she has a new aura about her. And I don't know if it's real or not, but I know when I see her on the television and all this blue is just coming. I'm sorry, yeah, I feel it. I can feel the tension. So there's a lot to this new Oscar, and I'm loving it. I'm loving where they're going with her.
Yeah, me too. And I'm hoping that they do more of the vignettes that they've like. She posted a bunch of stuff on her socials when she had returned to Japan prior to coming back in this version of the character. I love all that stuff. I love getting all the detail and the backstory and the breadcrumbs that we got leading up to hinting at the Kana version.
Hmm.
I love all of that.
Yeah.
WWE does a wonderful job with their storytelling through their media, through their production pieces. On this pay per view, we also saw a really fun mixed tag match and I'm super happy that Edge and Beth Phoenix get to wrestle together as a team.
Yeah.
Um, Edge, of course, for many years was not able to wrestle. His retirement had come and gone, and then he made the big return at the Rumble a couple of years ago. Was it 3 years ago at this point?
Great. Yeah.
And he and Beth teaming up against it was Finn
Me
and
and
Rhea.
me. Yeah.
There's a lot of backstory here, and I love the way that the commentary covers this. So Beth did commentary on NXT during Rhea's matches. She was also there as part of Mae Young Classic when Rhea first had her first appearances in WWE. So she's been for the ride in the progression of the character, and now we have this fully evolved badass Rhea Ripley
Mm.
against the Glamazon in the ring. Um, I was really excited to see this matchup.
Yeah, this was awesome. I mean, as you said, to see Beth and Edge working together, being partners in life, being able to 9 years he was gone. And we thought he was never coming back. But for him to have this second chance, be able to do this with Beth, um, great match within itself. I mean, WWE always has great matches, great storytelling, but at the same time, just the nostalgia of it hit me because these are the two I grew up with. I'm a Finn fan. I'm definitely a Rhea fan. And I'm looking forward to everything they have coming in the future. But Edge and Beth, I mean, it was awesome for me growing up watching them just on that journey to be able to see them in the ring together. And then we even had some um, uh, Beth did a busted open this week, and she was talking a lot to Mickey James about both of them being the now older women in wrestling these days, but how Mickey is such the standard right now for all women in wrestling and how she just fully respect her. And I love the fact that they were able to give each other, that praise on the show and how they glorified each other as women in wrestling today. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I love that because that's sort of the mission of Mission Pro is to elevate, women elevating women, right?
mhm.
And so I just want to pull up something Davina mentioned. you know, actual true intergender wrestling, and they've sort of dipped their toes in the water in WWE. We saw Rhea versus Akira Tozawa. We've seen a couple of bits and pieces here and there, some exchanges of offense, but no real long term intergender storytelling. And I would love for them to do it because they've got a wealth of talent on the
Yeah,
men's and
they can
women's
do it
roster
well.
who could mix it up and have some great matches. Even on Busted Open, I think Bully Ray's been really pushing for like a Randy Orton versus Charlotte Flair
Oh
match.
my god, I was just thinking about that.
Mm,
Well, not necessarily with Randy, but Charlotte, period, because she
yeah.
is definitely this, beyond capable of working in the ring with men and just actually elevating a few of them to another level if they would allow it to even happen. So I know definitely Charlotte would be awesome in intergender matches. So I would love to see some of that too from WWE.
Yeah, and just having someone like Beth Phoenix in the locker room. I remember listening to Edge and Christian's podcast, geez, a whole bunch of years ago at this point, and Beth was on talking about Rhea Ripley as this new up and coming person in NXT when she had first joined NXT. And I remember thinking, oh man, wouldn't that be cool if she got to mentor Rhea and then have a match? And it was, such a fantasy booking thing at the time, and here we are. It happened. So
Yeah.
I did love this a lot, and I love that Edge and Beth won because the Judgment Day is doing big things, and they didn't really need the win. So I thought it was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and if we're just going over the predictions, I didn't think they were going to win because WWE can be wonky sometimes, and then with Rhea going into WrestleMania, you kind of want to be logical of that and making sure that she stays dominant. But hey, the match itself definitely was awesome. They all worked so good together. I mean, praises to Rhea, Finn, but Beth and
Mhm.
Edge won.
Yeah, and Rhea and Finn didn't lose to enhancement talent or mid card. Like
Hmm.
they lost to two Hall of Famers, so it's okay. They're fine.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
sure they can get over it.
we're all good. So let's. I just want to fast forward over to Raw because speaking of veterans, on Raw we saw Lita
Mm,
return and team up with Becky, and I thought the segment was kind of wonky, but overall I'm excited to see Lita back there, even if it's only for a short time to work with some of the younger talent. I know everybody in this storyline is not new; they've been around a minute, but it's still Lita, so it's really cool. Um, I'm not, and I think they're having a tag title match next week on Raw. I thought this would be at the next paper. Well, I guess now
yeah, you would
WrestleMania
think
might
it
be
would
up.
be like something for WrestleMania or something
Mm.
like that, but they're gonna do it. I love Lita. Again, grew up watching Lita. One of my favorites, especially when she was with the Hardys. So um I'm not as thrilled about her being tagging with Becky and they're going for the titles. I mean, like you said, it was wonky. I was more so I don't get it. Like why?
It
Like
felt thrown together, right?
it felt like two eggs that you scrambled real quickly and threw them in the pan, and I just hope they come out light and fluffy, but the
But you
fire
didn't pick the
was too hot.
shells out.
Or the fire was up too hot, so they ain't gonna be light and fluffy. But uh, yeah, yeah, it's gonna happen. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know, but hey, I mean, it's cool. It's cool for the women involved that they are working with Lita, and it gives them a higher profile. It's a weird situation because you have a Hall of Famer and Becky, arguably one of the biggest stars on the planet in wrestling, teaming up. Like, in what world would they lose? So I'm going to be interested to see a who wins and what the story is coming out of Raw.
Yeah, hopefully there's a developing story to go with this. Hoping it's just not a one-off because if Lita's only here for a few weeks, I don't get it. But I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. I will say that ever since Triple H took over creative, I've had a much higher level of confidence in their ability to tell interesting stories that make sense. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait
yeah.
and see.
I'll wait and see.
Um, I wanted to ask your opinion about something because I don't typically watch Impact, but Masha Slamovich was a
Yes.
big part of Mission Pro early on, and she's had some great matches, gone on to Impact and done some really great things there. And so I have two questions. One, what is her interaction with Bully Ray? Because Bully puts her over like crazy on Busted Open, and they seem to have some kind of friendship.
Mm. Okay, so for me, what that is Bully just being bully because he's it's more so he's just using her to as a necessary evil. You know, Mickey is not necessarily on his team right now. They've all been having some issues, and he pumped Masha's head up, making her feel like, you know, they're doing you wrong. You deserve more. You can do this. And while you're at it, you know, you should be champ. So while you're at it, just come on over here and interfere with Mickey's matches and beat up on the person that I'm having problems with. I mean, it just so happens that this is also the person I'm having issues with. But yeah, you're worthy. So that's how I see it. It's just bully being bully. Um,
Okay, that
don't get
makes
me
sense.
wrong, Masha's great though. Oh, she's been a beast in the ring since she's been in Impact. I mean, everything I've seen about her has been awesome. That match that she had with Jordan Grace for the title, I know Jordan came out as the winner, but man, you would have thought at any point in time it could have went either way. And then I know, again, I mentioned Mickey earlier with her being on the podcast of on Busted Open this week, um, talking to Beth. And you know, Beth really put her over. You know, and basically was saying again, like she's the standard right now, and she is a champion. She is awesome. She is at her peak in wrestling right now. But I don't know. Masha has been great. Like I said, she barely lost to Jordan. She's been dominating everywhere else, all around Impact, and this could be the time to say goodbye to Mickey because you know once she loses, it's career ending. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
and so a couple things there. And I see Neil's in the chat too talking about. So Masha is challenging Mickey for her knockouts title tomorrow night at No Surrender.
Hmm.
I will probably watch that show because of that match. That match is going to get me to watch that show.
Yeah,
And I love me some Mickey James. Mickey's an awesome person. I've had the chance to meet her a few times. I'm a big fan of her career. But Masha's Masha, and I want to see Masha hold
man,
that title.
I can see
So,
it happening. I can see it. I don't know. I don't know.
and just to your point too, we had a chance to talk to Gail Kim a few months ago briefly, and she said that Masha was very, very high on her list of people to get into Impact. Like they,
Mm.
and that's a testament to her training, to the, you know, all of the things that she's done in her career. Again, she's had some killer matches in Mission Pro and in other places. So props to Masha. I hope she wins. I hope she's our new Impact Knockouts champion tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night, No Surrender, 8 p.m. Eastern. So.
Yep. Awesome. And so we're going to talk briefly about AEW because it was very brief. I am a huge fan of the women's division in AEW. My criticism has been that they just haven't gotten time to tell compelling stories, and this was another example. It was a 3.5 minute match. I think it was Saraya and Sky Blue
Sky Blue,
with the
yeah.
and Sky Blue also from Mission Pro. We've seen her all over the place.
Hmm.
Obviously now in AEW, it was a short match. At the end, Saraya and Tony Storm were going to spray paint her, and then Britt and Jamie ran in,
Yeah.
chased them off. It whatever is all very confusing to me. Um, the post match stuff was longer than the match, and so I'm
That's it.
hoping.
That says enough right there.
I just my hope for Jamie Hayter is that she gets more of a spotlight as the champion, and maybe everybody else needs to maybe step behind her a little bit so they can elevate that title a little bit more because some of the past champions have done that. Um, like Thunder and Riho and Hikaru Shida, and so I would just like to see the title get more of a focus, but maybe we'll get there. The other question I have is, where's Jade? Like, they have spent so much time and energy building this incredible champion, but she's just been
Well,
missing from TV. And I think she posted about
well,
it
she was on
today.
Rampage. She was on Rampage. She had to fight with Burt Vixen this
Okay.
past week. Of course, a squash match. It made her 53-0. But it is 53-0. So it's like,
Okay.
what are they going to do with her right now? Well, it's really nothing. I don't think they have any good stories for her, any plans for her, because we can't. I mean, who else is she going to beat? They're going to have to start bringing in a lot of outside people. We've already ran through everybody in AEW at least once or twice. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
she's there.
my wish list is very short at this point because she's kind of run through everybody. I would like to see a returning Chris Statlander take that title from her,
Mm,
just because they stature wise and
yeah,
athleticism wise they match up pretty evenly. So
yeah,
um so as we wind down here, I just want to remind folks we have our next pay-per-view. It is Edge of Glory on April 22nd. You can find your tickets to the event at missionprowrestling.com, and you can watch it live on Title Match Network. Tomorrow morning on Busted Open, I'm getting word that Thunder Rosa and Ryan McKenna will have special guest Maddie Rankowski on. So
Woo.
that's exciting. I can't wait to hear that interview
Yeah,
because Maddie is awesome. So
yeah. I can't wait to hear it either. She's been doing some great things, so can't wait to see what the future holds for her, where she's gonna be at, and all the good stuff going on with her. So yeah,
yep,
tuning in for Busted Open in the morning.
yes, definitely. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching tonight. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Trenda, where can folks find you?
Well, let's see. On Instagram, I'm at Habit Forming, all lowercase, and on Twitter is Habit Forming, same thing, capital HMN. That's me.
Awesome. You can find me at PW Front Row across all the socials. I am also the co-host of the Nation's Corner, and you can find us every Saturday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube, at Nation's Corner on Twitter, and at The Nation's Corner on all social media. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and set those alerts for all of your Mission Pro content. Check us out on the socials. Pay close attention to the Mission Pro socials because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming out soon, I'm told. So it's a fun time to be a wrestling fan.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
All
is.
right. Thanks, Trenda. Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Y'all have a
folks.
good night.